Y'all know how bad it is out there. You watch the news like I watch the news. All these little kids dying, and the world just bugged out, man. It's not like it was way before when, you know, as we remember it. Even probably people older than me remember it different, like more quiet and calmer. I remember like problems, but it wasn't as bad as it is now for like the younger generation. So we have to be more compassionate.
Tupac was an extraordinarily compassionate man.
His various houses and places of residences, from his first apartment, were missions and flop houses for anybody that needed it, or somebody he saw any glimmer of hope in, you know.
If they take half the buildings that they use to praise God and gave it to motherfuckers who need God, we be all right. We be all right. Have you seen some of these goddamn churches lately? It's ones that take up the whole block in New York. It's homeless people out here. Why ain't God letting them stay there?
He had a real affinity, especially to children who had parents who were drug addicted or who had parents that were incarcerated. He wanted to be able to set up something that was going to help those children, but he wanted to do it quietly. He didn't want to look like he was trying to sell records.
I'm going to be so far from where I am now in 4 years. God willing, I'm alive. It's on. I guarantee you, we will have our own political party. And it won't be just for black people. It's going to be for Mexicans. It's going to be for Mexicans. It's going to be for black people. It's going to be for Armenians. I don't give a fuck. All you lost tribe motherfuckers right now, we need to have our own political party because we all have the same motherfucking problem. We built this nation and we get none of the benefits.
Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant.
It gets me that they actually really want these people who say these things. They really want them to do and implement these things that they promise to do, promises. But they really think those people and the multimillionaires and the big corporate ex-CEOs that they vote for are going to change their lives for the better for them. All they have to do is to look for a little bit of honesty with themselves, because that's the only place that you can start.
Because what the rap audience ain't ready for is a real person. And I'm being real about it, and I'm going to grow with my music.
When people say Pac is the best rapper of all time, they don't just mean he's the best rapper. They just mean what he had to say was most potent, most relevant, and that he was the better human being. Even though you was a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama. It's like pouring those words out because you mean it, because you mean it.
Honesty, you have to start with yourself. And that means, why do you honestly expect someone else to change your world for you?
I feel that all that anger and shit ate him up so much that he couldn't hide it. You know what I'm saying? I think he tried, but he couldn't hide it. You know, that's why he always talk about, well, I'ma die and bury me a G and all that other crazy shit.
At what point in your early life were you introduced to this quote-unquote thug mentality?
When I was out there by myself, with nowhere to stay and no money.
And what was your first introduction?
Drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes. That's really it. Criminals. They the only people that cared about me at that point. When I had nowhere to go,
But you
and
said
I was
your mother always cared about you.
She did, but she was lost at that particular moment. She wasn't caring about herself at that moment.
And what was that like to have a mother who was addicted to crack?
I love my mom. She the bomb to me, so
I know
love
she is
all of her
now,
mistakes.
but what about then?
It was hard. It was hard because, you know, she was my hero.
Tupac wasn't crazy, but from when he grew up from a little boy until he was 25 when he died, you know, he didn't really get to be a man. But that's why he was so mentally fucked. You know, his mom was on drugs. His sister, you know, it was hard because he was older. He couldn't do that for her at the time.
Had I had a father, had I had some of these opportunities, I'd have been able to help my mother more. She wouldn't have went the road she went. I could have been a better son.
I put my arm around him. He started to weep. The tears came down. That was Tupac Shakur.
When he first got released from jail, I had hopes for him. You know, we had hopes for him that maybe he would get his life back on track. But I don't know what happened in the last year of his life, you know, to make him come to the conclusions that he drew.
I possess his soul, his and Puppy's. They know that I was the truest nigga involved with Biggie's success. I was the biggest help. I was the truest nigga. I don't write his rhymes, but he know how much he borrowed from me. He know how I used to stop my shows and let him touch the show. Let him blow up and do his whole show in the middle of my show. How I used to buy him shit and give him shit and never ask for it back. How I used to share. How I used to share my experiences in the game and my lessons and my rules and my knowledge on the game with him. You know what I mean? He owed me more. He owed me more than to turn his head and act like he didn't know niggas was about to blow my fucking head off. He knew. That's what I'm talking about. He already committed himself to lying. So now the only thing he can do is act like he don't know what the fuck is going on and listen to it. Think. People have to think. If your best, if this was happening for real, would this be your reaction? Right. Unless you was guilty.
It was just as if he didn't really care anymore, and he bought into a lot of the stereotypes that the hip-hop community has embraced. It was just incredible to just listen to him. It was the same time, it was frightening, it was funny, and it was also very sad. It made you ask questions. Was he corrupted by his fame?
The music business is completely fraternal, okay? Yeah. It's completely fraternal. Mm-hmm. There is no one that has not made it somewhere that is high level, that is not involved in some way, shape, or form in a fraternal order.
Niggas is telling me about this Illuminati shit while I'm in jail, right? Like, the dollars, right. That's another way to keep your self-esteem low. That's another way to keep you unconfident. Right. And I'm putting the K because I'm killing that Illuminati shit. Trust me. These motherfuckers wanted to kill you. Why the fuck they gonna tell Farrakhan? Why they gonna tell the Nation of Islam? Why they gonna tell this nigga in jail about the plan? How did he know? Right. How did it leak to him? Who told him? Who told him? The Pope? Who? Because they like the Pope and the money. Oh, come on, man. Get the fuck out of here.
These artists, many of them, are put in positions, okay, where they have no choice. I don't want people to think that all the time that the artist always knows what he's doing. At times, these people have been, just like highway robbery, they're extorted, okay? They were extorted. You know, many artists, they'll come up with a drug charge or a gun charge all of a sudden.
I feel as though what's done in the dark will come to light. It's secrets that everybody's gonna find out about that I don't have to play a hate or dry snitch about. That will come out, you'll find out for yourself and you'll know why I did it. I swear to God, y'all, I'm living by the rules of the game that y'all, the people, have put down for us to live by.
Do you feel like you've done anything wrong?
I did a lot of shit wrong. Probably half the shit I did is wrong. You know what I mean? But I believe in my heart I'm doing it for the right reasons. It might turn out wrong, but only reason is I didn't have no training. I'm training myself.
You know, somewhere along the line, you kind of had that feeling he was going to die according to his preaching. You know, he seemed to have taken up power and weapons and, you know, this posse lifestyle as his deity.
I guess that's what's frustrating and aggravating, that I can't live down this big shadow that I made to protect myself. Because it started out as just being, I need to get an alter ego to keep people away from me and to protect myself, which everybody does. You know, like when somebody breaks into your house and you know he's in the house, you wouldn't go in your real voice, excuse me, are you breaking in my house? You would go, hey, what you doing in my house? It's the same thing that I do, you know what I mean? If you're out in the wilderness and I'm just one sheep by myself, I wouldn't go, I want to say my next song, it's called, I would go, you know, woo, the world, you know what I mean? And that's worked, you know what I mean? And not that it's like a total facade, it's me, but it's just blown up.